Yeah, going to sea was an adventure as a youth, but it had its downfalls too, because there was a lot of injuries and loss of life on ships, and I don't like to dwell on them, but there are some that are very interesting because of the introduction of new equipment. We had a era when they introduced the platted polyester line over the hemp ropes and cables. Cables mainly used for spring lines. It's the one that goes fore and aft from the forepeak and aft and goes to midships. It's known as a spring line. And we used a polyester line on one ship, and it got on the bits, and it aided. We figure aided on the bits, and taking it off uses close stopper, what we call a stopper, and it's a line which is attached to one of the bit stanchions that you wrap around the line to hold it. I only could demonstrate it, not exactly explain it very well. We crisscrossed it about 3 times and then twisted the rope in itself, and that locked that line while we took the aid off and ran it to the capstan on the winch so we could pull in the line once they threw it off the dock. In this case, they were stopped off the line. We threw it over the capstan, and it got locked up on the capstan because it made 3 turns, but it went under one of the lines, and it pulled tension, and we had to throw the jack gear and had to throw it in reverse in order to undo it. But in the meantime, the ship was pulling away from the dock too fast, and it was too slow getting the line off. This line was a 3-inch line, plaid polyester, and it shrunk down to, I swear, 1 inch. I couldn't believe how small it got before it broke. And when it broke, it swung across the deck and hit an old elderly ordinary seaman. He was up in age, I'd say in his 50s, and took both his legs off when it went through. Unbelievable. Saved his life, though. Fortunately, we were at the harbor, and it was easy to get first aid to him. And he not inherited, he won a lawsuit, of course, over it. But polyester lines, I guess, still exist. They still existed on a lot of ships, so I never took them off. I don't know. I didn't care for them that much, but they seemed to have a lot of give to them. So it was a forgiving line. If you had surge or rising and falling of the ship, it would give to some degree due to low and high tide before you had to slack or take it up to make up the difference in the tides at dock. Anyhow, there's a lot of other things that happened. I'll go through some of the details of them later. The only one I can think offhand that might be of interest is we had, when doing the stacks, painting the stacks, they usually had a pad eye, or we had a shackle mounted up above that had a line to it that we could pull a line through, a heavier line, and it would go through the ship up above, and you could rig a bosun's chair or something and go up there and start painting the stack. Normally you did this in port, not at sea when we were under steam, but one day in port they were rigging it up, and I don't remember who was on the bosun chair going up, but they went up there and they started painting, and all of a sudden it broke loose and he fell and hit hit the highlights, what we call the glass over the engine room, the fiddly, and it broke through and it killed him instantly. He died. That was a shame, but it was because that damn shackle was attached up there to the shiv, and the pad eye of what it was ever attached to had crystallized under the heat, and apparently his swinging around started twisting it, and not realizing it actually just shattered, and he fell to his death. But that's just a couple of them. Too bad. I hate telling sad stories, but you need to know the bad parts too, I guess. You guys take care, and we'll see you next trip. Bye.